Well, hello again, friends. It's Mr. Fisher coming at you from the home studio one last time. Yeah, that's right. This is going to be my last assignment of the year for you guys. And this is going out not just to the freshmen, but also to the juniors. It's a mixed video for the entirety of my classes. So obviously this isn't content specific. This last assignment that I'm going to give you, you've got the entire week to do, as with all my assignments. And it's really not about what I say in this video so much as what you can remember from my class. So, by the way, I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. I hope you actually got a little bit of fresh air, but that you still did some social distancing and stayed safe for the most part. Um, I'm hopeful because the world is opening back up safely a little bit. At least our state's opening up as safely as they can, it feels like. But anyway, um, this kind of sucks, honestly. I hate that this is the send off that you guys get. I usually shake everybody's hand at the end of the class and tell them that I loved them and that I enjoyed working with them. And that's true for all of you guys. I really did. I really enjoyed my classes this year. Phenomenal classes, every one of them. Third hour, you were a little bit lazy on the online learning, but I still love you. This is what really matters right here, the heart. So the rest of you, though, absolute rock stars. There's no need to play favorites. Yearbook's my favorite. There's no need to play favorites, though. Nobody's going to ask that yearbook is my favorite, but I'm not going to tell you what my favorite class is. So at any rate, here is your assignment. So the freshmen, you just finished up To Kill a Mockingbird, and juniors, you didn't quite get through Siddhartha. I'm not going to make you finish that. I think you should, and I suggest that you do it, and I recommend that you do, especially given the part that we left off at, where he's at like the lowest low ever. But I'm not going to force you to do that. I'm going to hope that you can do that yourself. The assignment is for you to look back over the time that you were in my class, whether it was part of a semester and then quarantine, or whether it was the entire year, as with the freshmen. I want you to think about everything we did this entire year. And if you're a junior and you only had me for one semester, you can look back over the entire year, regardless of what teacher you had. You may have had Mrs. Herr, you might have had Mrs. Chatterton, you might have had Mr. Saltini, and I want you to look all the way back there too. And I want you to think about this for me. I want you each to tell me, to think about this, really think about this for a minute, and then tell me, what do you think was the most valuable thing that you learned this year? And I'm not talking about, a skill for taking the SAT, because it turns out that's not even essential in this day and age. I'm talking about something, some life lesson, something that you took to heart, some lesson that you've learned, some piece of information that just locked itself away. Juniors, it's kind of like when we read a chapter of Siddhartha and we do Florilegium and one thing pops out at you and you kind of just like pick that right off the page and that's what you were most interested in. I want you to file your way back through your memory and think of all the things that you did in junior year or freshman year, for my freshman, obviously. And I want you to think of what was the most interesting, most important, most relevant thing that you learned. And it can be as simple as a theme from a chapter or from a book. And I want you to think about that. That's number one. And then I want you to tell me what it was from, because I might not recognize, like, when you're like, oh yeah, it's all about this. Like, I don't know where that was from. So, forgive me for not being perfect, but I've forgotten stuff too. So you got to tell me what you learned, where you learned it from. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a book. It could be a conversation, a discussion, a project that we did, or that you did with one of your other junior English teachers or freshman English teachers, whatever. And so I want you to latch onto that. What is it? Where did you learn it from? Or who? And then I want you to tell me how it's going to be applicable to your life. Like, why is it relevant? Relevant means it's something that you can take in school and actually use outside of school. It's not one of those things you look back on and you're like, my gosh, why did I have to learn the Pythagorean theorem? Which I'm sure is very useful, but it's often picked up on online. So I'm just throwing that out there as an example. I personally have not used the Pythagorean theorem very often in life, but I'm sure it's great. Or the Fibonacci sequence, or several other things like that. But anyway, so number one, what is it? Number two, where did it come from? And number three, how is it going to be useful to you? I think I'd like you to do a little slideshow for me, if you could. I mean, You've done a lot of great writing for me, a lot of reflective journals and that sort of stuff. And your writing, it's good. But, and I'm not saying I'm bored with your writing, because I would never get bored with reading student writing, because the voice that comes through in the writing is just amazing. I love it. I mean, there's no better way to learn who somebody is than to engage with them through writing. But I want to do something else. So I'd really like you to make a slideshow for me. It doesn't have to be long, a few slides. We got your 3 questions. And then I'd like to have 2 other things answered for me. And this is particular to my class. So whereas with the other lessons, you can include whatever other English teacher you had this year, if you had another one, I'd like this to be all about me because, egocentric. I'm kind of full of myself. Usually I give a year in review, and I put a form out there and I have people answer questions about what they liked about my class, what they didn't like, and that sort of thing. But frankly, I don't know how many of you will do that if I have too many questions on it. And normally we have class time to work on it, so it's pretty efficient. But if I give you a 25 question Google form at home that's pseudo optional, I feel like you might bail on me, because I feel like I would probably bail on it if I were you. So I would like you to answer, honestly, what was the best thing about my class? What did you most enjoy? Sorry, it's not COVID, it's an itchy nose. What did you like most? And what did you like least? And I like rationale with them. Don't just say, I didn't like writing because writing sucks. Or don't just say, I didn't like book club because reading sucks. Express your actual opinion. Don't be pedantic about it. Tell me, what is it that you liked and why did you enjoy it? Why did it speak to you? Why should I continue to do that with future classes? And if it's something that you disliked, why? What is it that you disliked? Is there a valid reason in your mind that I should stop doing it? Because if it is, and you convince me, I'll stop. I'm not perfect. Look at me. I mean, I'm beautiful, but I'm not perfect. There's always room for improvement, baby. Okay? So that's really all I want you to do. Google slideshow, or a Prezi if you prefer, I guess, but don't be extra. Just do a Google slideshow and tell me what is the most interesting, relevant thing you learned this year. Tell me, where did you learn that from? Tell me how it's applicable to your life or the real world in your life in particular. And then tell me what you liked most about my class, or what you enjoyed doing most, or what project or activity or whatever you enjoyed doing most. And then tell me the thing that you liked the least. And tell me why. Validate your response. Don't just have beliefs. If there's one thing I want you to learn this year, it's to reflect. Always reflect. Self-reflection. Stop and think. Okay? And then have a reason for your opinion. Don't just have feral thoughts roaming through your mind. Don't just have beliefs with no way to back them up. If you get into a reasoned discussion, a logical conversation with someone, I want you to be able to back up your opinions on virtually everything, because you've had the time to read, reflect, and respond. I want you to genuinely know you. There you are. Okay? That's all I really want. I want you to leave this year knowing yourself a little better, and knowing how to get in touch with your innermost reflective person more. And I want you to just think more. Don't just react. Don't just be emotional. Think. Emotion's great. Use it against people. Emotional appeals, right? We talked about that. The appeal types, logical. It's great. It makes sense. Nobody cares. Pathos, baby. Pathos is the power. But anyway, that's beside the point. Now I'm just rambling because I miss talking to students, because it's nice to have a group of people trapped in a room that just can't run away whenever I start spewing my nonsense and some of my wisdom. It's kind of mixed together, woven skillfully, I like to think, together. At any rate, you got your assignment. We don't have a final exam in my class, but I often do this as a final exam, but it usually has to be a half an hour presentation. And for you guys, it's much, much less. 3 to 5 slides. Music, choreography, videos, whatever. I don't care. Just teach me. Okay? I've taught you all year. You teach me. That's what I want. I hope you guys have a great summer. I really do. I hope you have an amazing time. I hope you eventually get to see your friends responsibly. I hope you make good choices, but not always, because we learn more from failure than we do from success. And I really hope that you're good, but not too good. You know, you got to live a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you should break the law, but there's some rules out there that should be tested because we learn more from failure than we do from success. So live all of life, but don't do anything that gives you a criminal record or gets you dead or addicted to drugs or, some kind of disease that never goes away, like COVID. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop ranting now. I love you guys in a completely platonic and appropriate way. I'm bummed out that we never got to see each other again this school year. And I hope next school year, everything is just back to normal. And yeah, I'll see many of you. Okay, freshmen, not so much. I don't teach freshmen or sophomores anymore starting next year. Unofficially, I think I'm going to only teach juniors and seniors, and I'm pretty excited about that. Not because freshmen are bad. I love freshmen. Been teaching them my whole career. But I'm just excited for a new, interesting page. So I'm going to move on up. So if you had me as a junior, might get me as a senior. Hopefully you're happy about that. If not, well, can't please them all. Anyway, love you guys. Peace.